Remember, like I said in the beginning, how the world of work has changed and how industry experts are telling you how the world works. So, for anyone trying to understand what it is to be a good comms expert, I think this is one episode you should clearly listen to. And I think he's worked with all of them. He's worked in the automobile industry, and he works with currently, as at the time of recording, he works with, I think, Microsoft. So from a perspective of a professionally, um, communications in this era, several things changed. What were the key, what would you see are the key lessons you think industry experts, rookies, organizations should look out? Trends you've seen that we should pay more attention to as a communications professional in the new workplace?
So I would I would I would just speak on three things, and it's not exhaustive, but I think these are fundamental things that we need to look at more critically as professionals in terms of how we communicate to our audiences. Firstly, um, we cannot run away from the fact that um, influencers are key to this industry, right?
True.
You,
No more
yeah,
the way it used to be.
yeah. So influencer are key. Everybody wants to listen, and again, it's because of the audiences that we have now. Um, Leveraging influencers to drive our communication, our products and services, is one thing that we need to look at critically. In terms of be it rookie, be an OG, or be in the game for a bit. I think we should start looking at how we start building strategies in terms of our communications around influencer marketing. I think that is key. Um, Brand should, also how do I call it? Embrace storytelling,
Perfect.
right? And I always say this, and I think the buzz of storytelling, started about 6, 7 years ago, right? But storytelling it's now the mainstream of how you communicate, and there is always going to be that easy, quick test, to show why storytelling is the in thing. Um, the question would always be, um, who does remember that story that you were told by your grandmother like 10, 15 years ago? Can you remember it? And you say, oh, yes, because it had that interesting part, and it ended, and there's always a story, or there's always a lesson to get
True.
out of that story,
Yeah.
right? And and if you are being asked just your 5 years ago when you were in class, and you remember maybe STA 101, are like, no way. But you can remember the story that was told 15, 20 years ago, and even your class, a lecture class that you did just 5, 6 years ago, you can't learn. That shows the power of storytelling, right? And I think brands or communication experts should leverage it more to tell that story, of a product or service, and of what you're trying to push out to consumers. There is one particular telecoms brand that has done it effortlessly.
With storytelling.
They've done it effortlessly. I would say back to back, they've done it so well, and I think other brands are also taking, how do I call it, guidance, and are taking direction from there. So that's the second one, storytelling. The third thing is technology. You can't run away from tech, right?
Yeah.
You see, that is going to be, like, as you build your com strategy, technology has to be a key tool to be leveraged. Now, technology comes in different shades and size. Technology here could also mean your social outlets or your social media outlets. Technology here could also mean you having an AI-enabled website, right? Technology here could mean anything in terms of how well that you are being responsive to your audiences. And technology here could also mean data and insights. Okay, the number of people who reach out to us, the hits that we get on our website, the number of engagements, the conversations, the impressions that we are having on our different social handles. This is what it means, and this is the insights that we are getting out of it. So, and just like I said, it's not exhaustive. From where I sit, from my own view, those are the key three things that I may put on the table. And other professionals could add on to it, but I think those three are very instrumental as we look at professionals looking at how to navigate further in terms of this particular profession.
Cool. So we're having these conversations that for each year, like see brands. How I was asking how brands communicate to it each generation, and you made the instance that brands use influencers compared to what it used to be. Now, how do we feel? Let's look at the Gen Zs in the workplace. And prior to now, one of the reasons why I also had you here was that you've been able to. I love the fact that your trajectory showed everything that got you here was reputation, referral. You're working with a Gen Z who what got most of them into the workplace was tech. Most of them got into the workplace during COVID. Their first interview was through an interview online, yeah. And maybe your Microsoft Teams or Zoom, the rest of them, most of them experienced culture for the first time through technology. And most of them are still struggling with either the hybrid or the remote. What has it been like, and what's your core experience with the Gen Z at work? And how do you think most new firms that are still getting used to the hybrid? Because in my own opinion, I feel there is everyone is winging it till we finally say these are the things that work. So if we're compiling the things that have worked with this era of new people in the workplace, what are those things, and how do you think from a communications perspective organizations and individuals should handle the next generation at work, and what are your experiences with them?
So, Gen Z, as it were, I think there are fantastic, set of people to work with. They bring a new thought process in the workplace, right? And for organizations that are inclusive, I think what the Gen Zs bring to the table is more or less they see or will see them as them being assets, right? Yeah. And that's for organizations that are inclusive, and they appreciate diversity, in the workplace. So irrespective of, and I think it's just, we just put in an umbrella over this set of people and calling them Gen Zs. The truth of the matter is, when we were fresh and getting into work, we were all Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Right? And what I may have done 10, 15 years ago is currently what is happening now. Okay. Yeah. So when
maybe technology just amplified.
Yes, and maybe technology and access to freedom of speech, access to sharing content, literally leveraging platforms had made it look as if it's larger than life. But the Gen Zs, as it were, is still the same set of people, young people who would want to be expressive, who want to stand their ground, who want to believe in their own ideologies and all, right? So from a standpoint of working with Gen Zs, it's all about the culture of the organization you work in.
Okay.
Whereby there is mutual respect for the human being, not because of color, age, or size. And I think that should be the starting point, where the culture within an organization embraces everyone, irrespective of your color, irrespective of your age, or irrespective of your size, right, or your race, as it were. So, and that also helps to bring out the best of the Gen Zs, as it were. I know that in other climbs or organizations, you get to hear things that the Gen Zs are, they are the privileged few. They always want things their way. They don't believe in rules and regulations. Look, check the culture of where they are, and that will determine why they are doing what they're doing. And that will be my take home. I'm talking from my own knowledge and the experience that I've had with this particular set of people, and I think they are the most. I stand to be corrected. I think they are the most fantastic set of people to work with. The energy they bring into the table, um, the test, for excelling. I don't think we've gotten that. We've gotten that in recent time. I think for Gen Zs, they all want to succeed, and what you just need, you give them an enabling culture environment, and they will come out being the best set of people that you've never even thought they could be. And that is why you could literally see more of the Gen Zs always getting roles and opportunities outside the country, because there is that hunger to excel. And then maybe now it's now left about the economic situation in the country that is making that happen. But every Gen Z you see, I think the focus is, I need to be successful, and there is that hunger for that push.
So, Yemi, as a professional, you don't believe they are difficult to work with? You don't believe they are not, what's the right word that we use for them? That they're not resilient. You don't believe they're the troubled kids we have at work. You believe they are none of these.
There is how do I call it? There is a caveat that I put in there, and that is the culture of where they find themselves.
No, I love that perspective, because I think it helps the conversation. Yes.
Yeah, because if you get into an organization that the culture is toxic, you will get the best out of the Gen Z. Yeah. All that you said would easily show up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And when you have a culture that is all inclusive, and I use the word, I've been using all inclusive and diversity. Yeah. It only helps to bring out the best out of these individuals. And I think, from my own perspective, what you are saying about Gen Z, you are just telling me, I don't see it as being. I
love that. No one will come for both of us. No, but I love. We overlook culture most of the time. Yeah. I think we had a series where we talked about culture, but it's good we're looking at that now. Going forward, for you in your space, we're looking at adverts now. We're looking at, if we want to look at the best adverts as a communications professional that speaks to each generation. You finally see brands connecting, co-creating with influencers. Now, would we say that this is moving from brands as in what it used to be? Where do you see this trend going as a communications professional? Because whether you like it or not, we searched for the best adverts in the year, and we struggled. There used to be times when we could easily count 1, 2, 3, but now maybe the best ads are maybe skits.
Yeah. So thanks, Charles. Again, let's even look at it. I'm even struggling to say, hey, how many ads have I looked at in recent times? gone back in the days whereby your means of engaging with brands were maybe three or four max: your TV set,
Yeah.
the billboards, what you hear on radio, the out of homes, billboards, radio, TV. There is one more. There's one more.
Newspapers.
And newspapers.
Yeah.
Those were the four channels in which you get your brands connecting to the audiences, right? And what has happened in the last 3-5 years in terms of how digital social media has taken, mainstream, and this has led to influencers becoming a key stakeholder in terms of how you communicate to your audience. So I'll rather flip it to say, instead of looking at the best art, maybe we should be looking at which has been the highest engaging content by an influencer for a brand.
So that's new. So what that means is that we're playing with data.
No, obviously, there is this conversation that data is the new oil. And that is why everybody now is a data scientist or data analyst, because interestingly, where things are being skewed towards, people tend to become overnight specialists and experts. But we find ourselves whereby data will be the driving force in terms of what are the next tactics and strategies for our marketing and our communications plans, right? Recently, I think I also got, based on data and insight, right? It has decided who will win the World Cup. Right. And I wait till when that happens, but had literally from the quarterfinal stages, had, based on that data, who the data said would win and lose had happened to the final stage.
So my reasons for asking you this is that for you, as a comms expert, that your budget used to be TV ads and ads. You're now having a budget that is influencers.
Yeah. So
how interesting is that conversation to the generation that is like, how would I spend this X amount of money with this number of people because I want to compare to, because most of the times the money is crazy.
Yeah, but marketing budgets is always going to be is a cost center, because that's you're not ringing in, you're always spending. So it's no longer news that marketing budgets are getting leaner, right? And if you go around town, you'll figure out that there are no more static boards.
Yeah.
They are more of electric
digital
boards.
Yeah.
You understand, and it's just telling you how things are evolving, right? You have more radio stations, so you have more radio stations to play with. The ones that fits your budget, you go for. Not as in back in the day, whereby you had 3 or 4 and you just priced at that. Likewise for TV. But now, just like I always always tell people, you have your earned media, your paid media, and your own media. What we are doing now is nobody wants to go for, paid media anymore, but it's more cost effective leveraging your own media.
So when you say paid media, you're looking at
your TV, your
yeah,
radio, your
yeah,
billboards.
end media you're
Your,
looking at.
your end media is because of your brand. People are ready to push content for you because you earn it because of your reputation within within the industry.
Yeah.
Then your own media here is literally your own asset that you have 100% control of. So
Okay.
this naturally will be your website. This could be your social media assets or communication channels that is owned by you that externals can have access to. So
Okay.
what we are seeing more these days is people are investing more in their own media and push out content and probably promote it, have their YouTube page, put content on it, promote it, as to, going on paid media and, pay much. But in a nutshell, you still need a mix of both, but we all know where a lot of organizations are skewing towards to make a particular campaign be more effective. Because when you just focus on one media channel, you are cutting off another set of people who naturally would have been part of this. So it's always going to be a balance between the new media and of course the traditional media that we used to know.
Okay, so in a nutshell, the world of work has changed, and this doesn't look like the last change we would see. What's your heads up to the employees, the employers, the new generation at work, the different generations, the baby boomers, Gen X, the millennials, the Gen Z? How do you think as a communications professional that we can all, as we look towards inclusivity and we look towards having a workplace that is more communications compliant from a professional point of view, what's your feedback to this new workplace? How do we thrive more and make more value?
The way I would say it is, let's talk more.
Okay.
Let's have more physical engagement, right?
Compared to digital.
Yeah, so this is it, right? So let's try as much as possible. Yes, we do. Let's keep a space in that whole calendar whereby we meet physically.
Engagement, human connection.
Human connection, human engagement. You understand? Because that brings that camaraderie closer.
Okay.
During COVID, probably you were talking to somebody, that you never met, and your approach, you are always on the edge and defensive.
True.
Because
you
don't know him, so
or where they are coming from.
So when you are having conversation and the person tries to say, I don't get it, can you explain more? You feel the person is coming for you. Yeah. And you become very defensive and you want to defend where you're coming from, right? Now, the funny thing about that is that that same conversation, make it a physical one, and you'll be shocked the output that would come out. So irrespective of the class of people in the workspace now, I think we still need more human physical interaction. And I think that would literally take us ahead. Okay, from a communication standpoint, this is what we call internal comms, right?
Yeah.
Where people should just send emails. Trust me, that email might not be opened.
True.
Right. And when there are opportunities for that physical interaction, you share what you want to communicate there and there. It sticks. Right? So think about it, and I'm just making this up. Say, for example, in a month, I'm just saying in a month, First week you have your virtual meeting, second week you have your virtual meeting, third week you have, then the fourth week you now have the physical meeting.
Human connection.
Then in that meeting you said, oh, so recall 2 weeks ago I sent an email around this, and like, when did you send it?
Most of the times, that's the
yes,
feedback you get.
like we're not aware, but you have it in your mailbox.
Yeah.
Right? And what that does, it reduces a lot of participation, engagement, and
Yeah.
especially if it has to do with things around volunteering.
Yeah.
And people said they were not aware, but we sent it. I'm like, no way. So irrespective of what and the different categories or classification of the workforce, I think what is very, very key is the fact that the physical interaction would be a big enabler in how the workplace strives. Putting into consideration the hybrid kind of work that each and everyone is currently doing. But when you have that, that is one, and of course, users of technology would always, I always say it's also key. I think everybody now knows the different virtual online platforms. Even my 80-year-old mother knows those different names now.
Yeah.
And we just need to. What it has happened is that it has encouraged a lot of people to use such platforms and get acquainted with it. So technology, the human connect. I think those are the two for me. The two tools that we need to ensure that the next set of the workplace folks, the workplace employees, how they would strive.
Hybrid, remote, which is it for you? Which do you think people work harder in?
So remote, hybrid. Currently, I currently do hybrid. And I think that's the best for me. And everybody has his own, have their own opinion about it. So I live in a place in Lagos that you can literally predict your power.
Okay, which is
because again, you also ask people
where they come from.
Like, why do you prefer this than that?
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you live in a location in town that you have your power supply is really bad,
you choose
and you try to be a little bit inclusive in your environment. You say, I don't want to keep on hitting my gen every day. I'd rather go to the office, right? And I think what we are seeing more, is, the hybrid, and whereby you say, I will do, and people are already making that commitment. And this is different from organizations who have resumed fully to work.
Yeah.
Now, what you see now is that people are making commitments to say, I will do 104 days commitment to come to the workplace.
Oh, nice.
Right. So that is 2 days in a week. 2 days in a week.
So that's a negotiation.
Yes.
Okay.
So you understand, I'm committing to 2 days in the workplace every week. Some would say 2, some would say 3. But I think because human beings, we still want to still connect physically.
Makes more sense.
And a lot of things happen faster.
Yeah.
I can literally jump from my desk to meet you rather than me trying to check if you are online. Then I'll say, let's set up a 20-minute call. Maybe when I now set up the call, that is when NEPA power will go off. You try to on your gen refuses to work. Then you have to say, oh, sorry, I have issues with my internet and power. Can we push this to another time or reschedule? And what you literally want to say is something that you can just literally walk to the guy's table and say, see, you whiteboard and you move on. So that's so for me it's going to be hybrid, because I want to still enjoy working from home. The Lagos hustle and bustle, I want to avoid that. I try as much as possible not to go to the office on Mondays and Fridays. because the Lagos traffic on Mondays is another thing. I try Tuesdays and Thursdays most often than not, plus any other day that anything important is happening. But Tuesday, Thursdays, because these are less traffic days, and that is how I plan my, my hybrid work schedule.
Amazing, amazing. Final words. So I'll say thank you for sharing your time. And I've seen the impact you've done. Interestingly, there was a series we're working on, I think I told you one time, and looking at most of the young people in the tech space that you've dragged into subconsciously. Most of them had seen you, and they've loved tech. So it was good we shared this part of your story to see how you started from comms and how far you've come. And I'm taking 3 things away from my conversation with you: the power of referral for you, and I've had most of my guests say it, most of them didn't look for jobs. Most of them, it was a good job they had done that brought them here. And for the people you've made impact, and people know you as Yemi Tech now, but that was not your own journey, and you don't even have a background in tech and in comms.
So, I tell people, I've never written a line of code.
So it gives the next generation hope that what takes you to that next place is good work.
Yeah.
Good work, and someone that can take a chance on you. And it's good we see this, and it's not just motivation, that you see it and you believe it. It gives, it also reminds us that you can take a chance on someone and they can also turn out this way, because the fear is taking a chance on someone and they don't become everything you wish them to be. So thank you for the light you shine with your own work, and we're rooting for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I think, as you know, I would always say, a lot of people call me the bridge. Kudos to Shola Moson. He always says, when you're just trying to connect something to something, look for Yemi. He would just make it happen. So he calls me the bridge. But I think in recent time, there was something he just sent to me, and he said, we rise by lifting others. And I think I'm a full, student of that, because there is little we know. Yeah. And that little we know, we need to pour it into the guys coming, because that little you're pouring, into them will definitely make them better than you. I'm an advocate of you can be better than myself. I don't see it as compete, and I don't see it as a space of, being jealous. I just feel that is what it is, because we all pray that our kids are better than us. Yeah. So why do we feel compete when a colleague who's just coming, you can't literally tell him that you can be better than myself? And that is what I would use as my parting shot. So thank you so much, Charles.
You're welcome, Yemi. The show has ended. What would you want to be remembered for, and you see yourself doing? So we want to help you remember it here.
Okay, so I need to pen it down.
Yeah, you.
It's very simple.
It's not a jump question.
It's very simple. It's just being the next servant leader for the next generation.
Thanks, Yemi, man.
Thank you.